Hello, my friends. My name is Darren Gerdes, and here is the news in Ukraine. So it's the beginning of the school year, and children in Kharkiv and Kyiv and other places are starting their school year underground, trying to avoid being bombed by the Russians. So this is a interesting start to the school year. Meanwhile, Russia transports Luhansk school children to a Siberian military range for a young fighter course. Yeah, they're grooming them. I mean, not grooming them like that, but grooming them for war. So here's the actual article in Euromaidan Press. And what we see here is, according to the source, the students who were there for over a month underwent a severe Serve Russia training program. Well, severe Russia would work as well. Serve Russia training program. They were given young fighter course where they learned combat skills under the instruction of Russian special forces and tank unit personnel. Russian experts in patriotic education were also involved with a particular focus on older students who are expected to join the Russian army within a year or two. So that's what's happening. Now, these are students from Luhansk, Ukraine. So they're trying to turn these students against their own country. Okay, Putin stated that if the fighting stops, while he was talking to students, by the way, he's in the context here is he's talking to students. Putin stated that if the fighting stops, Kyiv would have to lift martial law, which he claims Ukraine is not interested in doing. He also suggested that Ukraine's actions, including the attack into Kursk region, are provocative and said that these will eventually fail. Okay, again, he's in this context talking to students, and he's saying Kyiv doesn't want to lift martial law because then Zelensky would have to have an election. Of course he doesn't want to do that. Right. Okay, let's look at the casualty rates today. 1,300 Russians off the battlefield, 9 tanks, 26 armored fighting vehicles, 10 artillery systems, 44 vehicles and fuel tanks. So this number is on the higher side, even over the last 3 months. This is still the higher side. Now, let's look at artillery systems. You have 10 artillery systems that were destroyed yesterday. If you had to guess, just think how many artillery systems were destroyed in the last month. Now, if you're thinking, okay, well, 10 times about 30 is about a month, maybe 300. You'd be wrong. It was 1,517 artillery systems destroyed in the month of August. And that's the second highest in the course of the war. And then we're going to go back to this same thing. So how many Russians are off the battlefield in the course of the month of August? And again, we're up at 617,600 total. And so here, 36,810. So that's a little bit better than 1,000 per month. Now, let's look at this. We're up to, again, 617,600 total casualties on the Russian side. So if we're looking at this and we're thinking, wait a minute, didn't we just pass the 500,000 mark not too long ago? Yeah, we did. It was May 25th that we passed the 500,000 mark. That's May 25th. Here's the video where I talked about it, May 25th, 2024. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that we're looking at roughly in 100 days, remember, we're looking at 117,600 Russian casualties. Now, if you're going to do some math here, that means in 100 days that 100,000 and change went up, and that means that at the pace that they're going, and I don't think that they can sustain it, and they won't sustain it during the winter, but at the pace that they're going right now, they would be at 1 million casualties in within a year. It's absolutely unbelievable. Okay. Euromaidan Press. All of Ukraine last night was under a cruise and ballistic missile attack alert. Kyiv is especially affected. 4 groups of ballistic missiles and so many powerful explosions heard. Kyiv was the primary target. They had the air. They can't really tell exactly where it's going until it's about there, right? So that's why the whole country was. Now, Russia's brutal terror continues overnight. The invaders launched 35 missiles of various types, 23 UAVs on Ukraine. Kyiv, Kharkiv, Sumy were under attack. Air defenses shot down 42 aerial targets. So that means 9 Iskanders and ballistic missiles and 13 KH cruise missiles, 20 Shahed drones. Now remember, 20 out of 23 Shaheeds were knocked down, and only 22 out of 35 missiles. So about a dozen missiles get through. Now, we can look at that a little bit more granular. 9 out of 16 ballistic missiles were shot down, and 13 out of 14 cruise missiles. For some reason, they have an easier time shooting down cruise missiles than ballistic missiles, and those are the ones that are doing the great deal of damage. Okay, as a result of a strike on a children's social and psychological rehabilitation center and an orphanage in Sumy, that's what the Russians hit yesterday, by the way, in Sumy. They hit a children's social and psychological rehabilitation center and an orphanage. Okay, 18 people injured, including 6 children. According to the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, the attack partially destroyed the building, caused a fire, and damage to nearby residential buildings. Right, so Darth Putin, the humorous commentator, this is a parody site, said, "We're defending Christian values in Ukraine. So today we bombed an orphanage there." Yeah, right? Okay. This photo shows the aftermath. I'm just reading this. I'm not showing the photo even. It shows the aftermath of a missile hit in Sumy. Civilian infrastructure objects were damaged, an apartment building and the building of an educational institution, which houses a center for social and psychological rehabilitation, just like I read. But what you got to read is this. Today, the Russian Defense Ministry said that a missile strike near the city of Sumy had, quote, destroyed 3 HIMARS MLRS launchers and 3 escort vehicles, a transport and loading vehicle, and more than 30 Ukrainian servicemen. Wait a minute. You're saying you hit all those things, but what you really hit was an orphanage and a center for psychological rehabilitation of children? See, this is what the true picture is of what's happening in Ukraine right now. Several hours ago, Kyiv repelled a Russian missile and drone attack. Emergency services report several fires caused by debris crashes. Okay, some of this was missiles, whether it's in Kyiv or otherwise. Some of this was missiles actually getting through and hitting, not just debris, but okay. Let's turn our attention now over to Kursk. We're not going to talk about Patriot because I'm going to do my very next video is going to be with Greg Terry talking about the actual situation on the ground at Patriot. So you want to hear firsthand how, and we'll look at the map and talk about this. Yeah, you want to be there and see that. Okay, Ukrainian forces carried out multiple assaults in Russia's Kursk Oblast on 1 September, targeting locations near Sutsa and Kornevo. Russian sources reported minor advances by Ukrainian forces near one village. So not a lot going on there. Ukrainians open up a new axis of advance near Russia's Kursk with intensified airstrikes and isolated Russian troops. Ukraine prepares for further assaults to weaken Russian defenses up to the Sym River. Okay. But this was really interesting. Last night, rumors of a Ukrainian breakout in Kursk led to friendly fire incident in a Russian rear area. Russian mill bloggers reported that a group of Russian militia fired at everything that moved on the critical Kursk-Lvov supply route, injuring several. And these were like civilians that just happened to be in harm's way, as well as other Russian soldiers. Okay, Germany has provided Ukraine with new military aid package, including Iris-T air defense system, vector drones, recovery vehicle, engineer excavators, ammunition, unmanned surface vehicles, etc. Romania's government approved a bill to donate a Patriot missile system to Ukraine, pending an urgent parliamentary approval, and they also seek replacement systems from allies, particularly the U.S. Okay, I can't show this video, but I just thought this was actually just one of the most remarkable things that I've seen here, and I've seen a lot. This is a drone that is like, it's okay. So I'll read the commentary. It says, wow, a Ukrainian drone carrying combustible mixture, literally burning Russian positions in a tree line. It's like a drone flamethrower. So from the drone, they're shooting fire down across this tree line, and they're Russians in this position. I'm not showing the video. I'll pin it below, but you can see where it started here, and they're still like kind of burning here as the drone just goes over the thing, and it's pretty remarkable. It'll be in the pinned comments below. Russia has never refused, according to Putin, Russia has never refused peaceful negotiations, but it is necessary to deal with the bandits who have infiltrated the territory of the Russian Federation in the Kursk region. Wait, so if you do it, It's a special military operation. If the Ukrainians do it, they're bandits with their attempts to destabilize the situation in the border area, says Putin. I'm not making it up. You can read the captions here yourself. I mean, it's it's unbelievable how it's like it's apples and oranges in the way he talks about it. Okay, here's the airspace protected by Biden and Schultz by policy, and here's the airspace not protected. What do you make of that? I just find that remarkable. And then, let Ukraine defend itself. Just let Ukraine defend itself. Let them prosecute the fight to get this war over with. Darth Putin, for some reason, my tankies never say Iranian or North Korean missiles hitting Ukraine risk escalation. It's a good point. I mean, yes, it's not hitting into American territory. I get that. But it is still a solid point that their use of these weapons in Ukraine isn't risking escalation. All right, my friends, that's all that I have. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares and the subscribes. When you like or share or subscribe, it really helps the algorithm. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being the kind of person who cares about Ukraine.